Here we have an ASUS TUF A15 gaming laptop that came in for no power. We already disassembled the board. Now the problem with this laptop is it does power on. We see a backlight on the keyboard. CPU gets hot, GPU gets hot, but nothing is displayed on the screen. Screen is black, and it's not black because the screen is not good or the screen is damaged. External monitor does not work also, and caps lock is not showing any light, which is a good indication that there's a problem with the motherboard. So I asked Big Boss to disassemble the board so we can work on it. Now, I would rather work on laptops that do not power on. I'm very good at troubleshooting laptops with no power, especially ASUS laptops. But this one does power on. Like I said, everything works except no image on the screen. We also tried new RAM sticks and same problem. And this board does not have integrated RAM, so we cannot blame it on memory. We're gonna have to see if we can figure it out. If yes, then probably you're watching this video. If not, then there's nothing to show and I will not upload the video. 100% we're not gonna have any power line issues since the laptop does power on, but we're gonna have to check. Okay. I did disassemble the board so we can look at it front and back. Maybe we see something obvious. Liquid damage, corrosion, a blown component. Right now we are relying on visual inspection and we're gonna measure along the way, and I do not know what this is. It doesn't look like there are any components here, so it doesn't really matter. It could be something sticky on the laptop, some adhesive or whatever. Memory sticks. And there's another one here. And that's the LCD connector or EDP connector. And we have our V-core circuit. That's our CPU. And that's our GPU. VRAM chips. I mean, the board looks super clean. Nothing obvious. We have the Z fuse right here. MOSFETs, DR MOSFETs, capacitors. Hard to tell. It's really hard to tell what's going on with this board, especially that we do not have any schematics or board view diagrams. What's the model on this laptop? Let me check quick. Maybe somebody has board view or schematics. The model number is FA506NC. ASUS TUF Gaming A15. The customer also wrote FA506QM-EB93. That's the model number of the laptop. Let's read what the customer wrote. The customer said, referral, your YouTube. So the algorithm. Description, the laptop just stopped working one day. I found one of the fans ground to a halt, so we replaced it, but the laptop still does not turn on. Doesn't turn on. So he noticed the fans or one of the fans not working, so he replaced the fans. And I do see stickers on both fans, so it looks like the customer replaced the fans, but fans almost always never go bad. Almost always, unless the fan is jammed or one of the fans is broken or it's making a noise. But fans are like bulletproof parts. They never fail. Nothing on this side of the board. And let's check the back. And we see one hair. But of course, that's nothing. Let's keep it here for decoration. Back of the board is mostly empty. Just few components. I mean, no signs of liquid damage, no signs of corrosion, no signs of prior repair attempt. And right now it's a hit and miss. We're gonna inspect several components on the board and see if we can figure it out. And that's the ticket number if the customer is watching. That's the DC input here. And if we flip the board, the DC power MOSFETs are on back of the board. So let's inspect for a short circuit, and I am 100% sure we're not gonna have a short because the laptop does power on. If we do have a short on the second MOSFET, on the drain of the second MOSFET, then the laptop would not power on. Okay, you see 0.447 voltage drop in diode mode, so we know that we do not have a short circuit. Let's go back to the top here. We can measure this inductor in diode mode, and we have 0.437. We can measure the gate. I always like to measure the gate of MOSFETs. Because I know that we should not have a short circuit or very low resistance on MOSFETs gates. And if we measure this coil, we have 0.4 voltage drop. And if we measure this coil here, right next to the RAM chips, we have 0.4 voltage drop. No problem. And this coil on the right side is probably low resistance. And yes, 0.05 voltage drop. If we go to ohms mode, 57 ohms, that's normal. Our battery plugs in here. While at it, why not measure the fuse? We have 0 ohms. Go back to diode mode. 0.52. So I'm basically measuring for any type of short circuit or anything unusual. Measure the gate, 0.8 voltage drop, 0.87, 0.35. Everything good here. Now Big Boss did all the basics, trying to boot up into recovery, into BIOS recovery mode. He tried to hard reset. Just a minute. He replaced the RAM sticks, and he did everything just to eliminate the fact that it could be something external. I mean, most likely we're not going to have any issues with those V-Core DR MOSFETs because any issues here will show up as a short on the DC power MOSFETs that we just tested on back of the board. Now we have 4 MOSFETs here that we can easily test, and we have more hair on the board. What I like to do is measure the gate. And if we measure the gate here, oh, look at this. Look at this, 0.02 voltage drop. 0.02 is almost a short, almost a that short. A gate should not be that low. Look at the measurement of the gate here, 0.43. That's a healthy reading. That's not a healthy reading. We have a problem. What about here? Look at this. We also have 0.017. Is this normal? No. I have not worked on this very specific model, but that's not normal. 0.017 voltage drop is not normal. And if we measure also almost at that short, 0.017. Which makes me question a few things. Why is it all of them? 0.015 voltage drop. 0.45, that's good. And 0.016. Now, gates on those MOSFETs are controlled by drivers, driver chips, likely on back of the board. Let me flip the board. We have some type of a tape on the back. And are there any drivers? Yeah, we have drivers right here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 MOSFETs in the front and we have 4 drivers in the back. And those drivers control the voltage on the gate. Now I'm going to assume that the first driver IC is for the first MOSFET that measured good. Maybe we can start with the second MOSFET or driver IC. Could be that one of those driver ICs, one faulty driver IC that is causing the short on all 3 MOSFETs in the back. That may be possible. If we do remove the driver IC and we still have a short at the gate for some reason, then I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out if we can. Let's start by removing this IC. And I'm assuming that this one is for the second MOSFET. It makes sense for the first one to be for the first MOSFET and the second one for the second. I do not want to lose it. Maybe we can do this. And what is that chip anyway? I have no idea. C8XMM. What in the world is... I don't know. Let's check the front and measure again. Now I remove the second driver IC right under this guy right here. Again, if we measure, we have 0.344, and that's because the board is hot. It went down from 0.4 to 0.35. It's gonna go up 0.36. 36.5. Okay, that's good. And are we gonna have a short here? Yes, no. Wow. Oh well. We have oh well. So the driver IC that we removed is in fact for this MOSFET. We have oh well, no reading. What about the rest? If we measure here, look at this. We do not have a short anymore. 0.542. 0.385. Wow, 0.552. We got rid of the short on all of them. 0.389, and it's going up 0.391. Look at this. No more short on any one of them. We got it. I told you something smelled fishy, and gate should not be reading very low. We got it, but only one problem. What is that chip? Where do we get one from? That's the only problem. I have a lot of donor boards, and I'm gonna have to look and see if we have anything similar. Not similar. I do not know what that chip is, so I cannot have similar. I need the same one. So what is it? 08 XMM. 08 XMM. What is 08 XMM? I have no idea. No idea. You see, if you paint with your marker over the chip, you can easily read the letters. And that's a trick for you. Simple. So right now the problem is this guy right here, 08XMM. Let me look at some donor boards. I have an ASUS board here. The thing is, I do not have any ASUS TUF motherboards right next to me. If we look on the back of this board, I do see some driver ICs. Are they similar? I see some here, and those, they look different. A39, A89 or 39. I do not know if this chip is the same. This could very well be the same chip, but it doesn't have the same reading, A39. I cannot take a risk. Because right now we know what the problem is. We do not want to make it worse by just putting any driver IC. This one is A33. So the other board was A39 and this one is A33. Why those numbers? Why those stupid numbers that you can never figure out what that chip is? I have another ASUS blue board here. Do we have any driver ICs on this board? And we do not. I have an MSI board here. And different reading. I cannot go by any reading other than what we saw on the board because I do not know what that chip is. XMM. I have a Dell motherboard here, but I do not think they'll have any ICs, any driver ICs for their DR MOSFETs, because the DR MOSFETs, they already have a driver built into them. And Dell, they use DR MOSFETs, and most of the boards that have DR MOSFETs are not going to have a separate driver IC. So I'm basically looking at the old ASUS motherboards. I have a big pile here. Okay. A big pile of boards. So let me go over them one by one. This one has driver ICs, and this one has totally different reading. If you know what C8XMM is, let me know. Leave it down in the comments. Or if you have any board view diagrams, schematics, send it to me or let me know what that chip is. A9L. Again, what's A9L? That's why having schematics and board view diagrams is important. And people still ask me, what do you think about the right to repair? It's not going to work out. You're wasting your time. You are wasting your time. Any maker will find 101 ways to tell you why they cannot provide such documents. You do not like the maker, why are you buying from them? Nobody's forcing you to buy ASUS laptops knowing that they do not provide documentations. No schematics, no board view diagrams, and some parts you do not even know what they are. Okay, so I do not know what that chip is. I'm gonna look it up online after my shift when I go home. If I'm able to find it, I'll order that chip and maybe we can continue in part 2. And this is one of the reasons why sometimes we are not able to fix a certain device. We're gonna end the video right here. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.